Who's
All right. Hey, guys. Episode 15 of The Talking Guys. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
We doing.
Howdy.
Hey. So, I figure we go ahead and get a topic off the bat here. Sports talk, because that's always interesting.
Wait, we have to have a topic right off the bat.
Remind me
kind of like silently sit for a little bit in remembrance of what it was like to be quiet and not just talk all the time.
All right. We'll give a 5-second moment of silence.
Okay, I really don't like
that.
this.
Lasted 2 seconds.
That wasn't 5 seconds, but anyways, have you guys heard what they're planning on doing for the MLB?
Remind me again what the MLB is.
Yeah, what is that?
All right. Well, so they've decided to go ahead and try to implement a 60-game season. I think originally the plan was to start July 4th, but because of COVID and the amount of
They
What's
should have
up?
started July 4th. It's the American sport on the American day.
yeah,
They failed. They let
but since
I'm
I guess
disgusted.
cases are starting to go back up again, right now
Did they ever go down?
they- I think for a time there was a curve
For
that had
about
been
1
flattened.
week.
Yeah,
I don't think they ever went down. The curve flattened. That's
People
what they
got
kept saying.
bored.
It flattened. So then
yeah, it really did. I mean, everyone, I guess 2 months is just like, well, why not go outside and do whatever because we're bored.
People
And
never stopped going outside, so it really, there was no shutdown. There was a shutdown of businesses.
yeah,
But,
which they're starting to do again. I know the bars are going to be closing again. They have now reduced at least in Texas,
why
What
shut
is the
bars
meaning
down?
of life?
It's effed.
and the capacity for the restaurants, I believe, went from 75 back down to 50%. So at least here where I live, they also have mandated a masks. So you're not required to wear a mask August 4th or 5th or something. So basically the entirety of July. If you want to go to any place of business, you're required to wear a mask. Speaking of businesses requiring masks, I went to Jack in the Box last night, this morning, sometime. I went through the drive-thru.
What?
And
Do not
they
tell me what
made
you're
it.
about to say.
Oh no, you're about to find
no.
out. They require you to wear masks when you go through the drive-thru now.
No.
Mhm.
Ah!
Through a drive-thru. And I'm not going to tell you what Jack in the Box it was because I don't want to, call them out on it. But none of the employees weren't wearing masks. So
What? So you have to. Okay.
yeah,
You
the
could
person in the
report
car.
that. Did you get the receipt? You need to call corporate on them.
Maybe. But yeah, I thought that was kind of strange. The people
This
in
is
the
a
car
time
are
when you
required to
should be
wear one.
calling corporate on them, Seth. Don't give me that.
Hang on. No, that look was not for that. I'm just thinking. So in their heads, the people making the food don't need masks, but the people receiving the food through a window that's got a sneeze guard or whatever on it need them.
Yep.
Okay. No, it makes sense. Checks out. All right, cool.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it would be one thing, because I've gone to drive-thrus quite a bit lately, and a lot of them are wearing their masks. Most of them, I would say about 80%, and then occasionally I'll see like one person that's not, or they have it like down. But a lot of them are actually like properly wearing them now. It's crazy.
Yeah, this wasn't my local Jack in the Box because the one I go
okay.
to, they've got the sneeze guard. All the employees are wearing their PPE. As far as I'm aware, they don't require a pedestrian through the drive-thru to wear a mask. This was a Jack in the Box in the next city over. Still part of the same district, though.
It's like, it doesn't
District
even
9?
make sense, dude.
Actually, 7.
Oh,
Your car is a closed environment, so really the only thing.
Not if your window's open and you're grabbing stuff.
Yeah, but it's like the chances of like the fluid actually being able to flow through your window up into the drive-through window is like.
Yeah,
about the most dangerous thing would be your hands. So they could like tell you you have to hand sanitize before you touch anything that they hand you or you hand back.
Well, actually, I'd gone to a Taco Bell, the one that I go
to
to usually, and they hand you the card reader out the window, and you put your card in and then remove it. So you're never actually touching the card reader, and they're never actually touching
lot of people
your
are doing
card,
that.
which is nice. Yeah. And then the Chick-fil-A I go to, they have stopped accepting cash. It's just card only.
Oh yeah, cash is like straight up.
Cash has always been gross.
It's always got tons of germs and nastiness on it. So
yeah. But hey, that's the world we live in.
Anyways, so back to the little rabbit trail there. We're gonna go back to the MLB real quick.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I don't think they have a date set. I know that in the last week or two, well, actually, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, they actually weren't even sure that a season was going to start. So I would have won a bet had they not started. But maybe I still win. Who knows?
Why would you bet against man's greed?
Well, because everything is being canceled right now. So
but I have bet against man's greed. Not just man's greed. You're talking about multi-millionaires' greed. Like, once you taste it, you can't not taste it. They're not going to go a whole season without making money.
Hey, we'll see. I mean, right now, the NBA, a lot of players are testing positive. So it's possible that the NBA doesn't even resume. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're saying, record highs. That
it will happen if they have to play 2K, 20 online against each other. It'll happen.
Just like a giant tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, actually, speaking of video games, I know before the show we were talking very briefly about the kill death ratios mattering in online multiplayer games. Patrick, you have some strong opinions.
Let me specify. It was not online multiplayer games. It was battle royale games.
Oh, well, I guess I misheard then.
I think in the article, it really is talking about all of Call of Duty, as in like any game that's like Call of Duty as a genre, not just battle royale. But they say it's even more pointless in battle royale.
The arguments you gave beforehand, which I mean, I guess I'll let you give again, but you said where it makes people play more aggressive instead of waiting to get that last kill, which is battle royale style, not run and gun shooter.
So like it says, it's very common for gunfight players to drop out of a match early if their KD tilts in the wrong direction, because if people look at it, then they're gonna assume that this player's just bad if they have a bad KD in gunfight. True, but not wholly true. As long as you're above 1 KD, that means you kill people, you drop even, net even. That's the whole point of KD. I think the first thing, before we even talk about this, for the people that aren't Call of Duty like aficionados, kill death ratio is the amount of kills you get to the amount of deaths you have, and in some games they include assists. So you have a KD or a KDA, and it'll increase your point up. So like if you have a 2 KD, that means you kill 2 people for every 1 death you have, which means, right, you're taking out more people than you are worth, because you're only worth 1 life. You're taking 2 lives. So theoretically, you're supposed to be a better player the higher your KD rises. So a lot of professional players are at the 6, 7, 8 KD. So they kill 7 people before they die 1 time on average, which is insane to think about. Considering most players are down at like 1 or draw or negative
0.5, 0.6.
Yeah. So the whole argument basically stems around, they say that KD is like toxic to the game because it makes people feel like, I guess, a form of self like defeated, because they don't have a good KD, so they feel like they are not as good a player as somebody else, and they can directly look at this number.
Sounds to me like it's true.
Yeah. And then but I guess in battle royales they're saying it's subtler because it creates like these hyper aggressive players that just like do things that don't even make sense, right? Like try and kill people while the storm's moving and they're all going to die, but they just want the kills so bad that they just like purposely die in order to get these 2 more kills, instead of actually playing for the reason that you're supposed to be playing a battle royale, which is get a win, right? So if you're not winning, what's the point of a KD? which I feel like might be a semi-valid thing where it's like it doesn't make much sense if you're not playing at least semi for the win. The whole point is to get a win in most games.
I feel like, wins or at least top fives are, what judge a good battle royale player. Because you have, especially in games like Warzone where you've got that 150 people, like top five is a little bit harder to do, and you have to get kills to get to that point. If you can't unless you just get insanely lucky on the storm movements and can camp one building the whole time. But then again, you'll still probably get run up by somebody just because there's so many people everywhere. So I think KD in battle royales is more of useless, especially since there's a lot of RNG, which I honestly have no idea what RNG stands for. But it for those that don't know, it is
random number generator.
It's the luck of the draw. Like when you land, you might get a really good gun, or you might not get a gun at all. And so you might land right next to somebody, and they get a really good gun. You don't get one, and you're going to die. So KD's a little bit harder to judge because your best players could have really bad RNG, and your worst players could just get really good stuff.
Yeah, the reason RNG is called RNG is because everything is based off of computers and programming, and in order to say
everything
where the storm is going to go or where guns are going to lay, you have numbers that create a position on the map, so it randomly will choose where it puts things, right? So it's a gamer term for your luck. So you have good luck if a really good gun spawns right next to you and you land on it. You have good luck when you're in the middle of a zone and the next zone spawns right on top of you and you don't have to move. But there's no way to know until it happens where it's going to be. So
yeah, but I think that is one of the reasons it's so addicting.
Right, because no game is exactly alike.
Even
if it ends in the same exact area.
Yeah, and even though, especially games like Warzone, which only have one map, so you could play 1,000 games and all in the same map, but they all feel different because everything's going to be different. Although Apex for a little while actually had set spawns of guns. I hated it. It was stupid. Everything spawned in the exact same spot, so if you found good stuff, you knew exactly where to land. It was something they tested for a little while. It lasted a week. But it was bad.
So everybody just fought over these spots?
You found your gold shields, the best shields in the game. You knew where to land, and you knew how to rotate so you get your favorite guns. But
yeah, I want to come back to that in a minute because that actually I like set spawns. Like I said, we'll get back to them in a sec. The RNG we're talking about, Patrick, with the battle royale games, and I mentioned that's why it keeps people coming back, because there is a chance it could happen to you where you get the good spawn or the good zone, whatever the case may be, and because there's a chance that it could happen to you, you come back in hopes that it does. I think that's one of the reasons why they're popular, because hey, maybe not this time, but next time. And you come back thinking it'll be next time. And it may not be.
It falls under the same, I personally believe, I really think scientific data would back this up. It falls under the same principle as gambling. Mm-hmm. So you have a low percentage, right, of everything falling perfectly in line, but when it does, that feeling you get is something that you're it's a euphoric high in a way, right? When you have that win that you didn't expect and everything falls in line and you get all the perfect kills in your team. Not one of you dies and you just destroy everybody in every perfect gunfight. But then the next game, the next 10 games, next 20 games, it's just a shit show. And you're I don't understand why we couldn't get back to that. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it falls in place again and you get it. You get that euphoric high when everything falls in line and the cogs are going and the momentum is all in your favor and everything just slides your way. It's the same as playing a card game where you're gambling for thousands of dollars and that one time it happens, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're gambling, you keep losing, and then all of a sudden you win big and you win $13,000 all of a sudden. And yeah, maybe you dropped $11,000 or maybe you dropped $15,000, but the fact that you won $13,000 in that 1 second,
It could happen the next game. And
it could happen the
that's what
next
has them
game.
keep trying.
So it captures the mind, and it really almost, I feel like, becomes sort of like, it's very easy, I think, to get addicted to games like this because of the way they've created the games. And so they basically, like the loot box system that everybody complains about because it makes people spend all this money. Well, now they've created a game that the inherent game, the way it goes, is a gamble. So you will become addicted to the game, and then all they have to do is offer you cosmetic things that have nothing to do with whether you'll be good or bad at the game. And people will buy it because they're so addicted to playing the game. They want to look different. They want to look unique. Yeah. You have your fashion trends and everything, which is very interesting in games. Like, it's like the same as real life. So people want to stand out. So they'll do whatever they can to stand out. And and then they profit off of that. Yeah, it's pretty genius business model, really. Whoever thought of the first Battle Royale, they really big brained. Big brain.
H1Z1?
I don't know if they were the first one, but they were one of the.
I'm pretty sure they were one of the first.
Did that come out before DayZ? Was it H1Z1 or DayZ?
I don't know. I know H1Z1 was the first popular one. I don't know if they were the first one, but they were the first popular one.
Yeah. Real quick, because then I will move on. Just my opinions on the kill death ratios and all that. I don't think they should be implemented in battle royales because I feel the winning aspect of it, I think, it shows more skill than I think just getting kills, at least in my opinion. Because for the most part, you know how to rotate, you know how to play the map to your advantage. Hey, this is where I need to be to win. This is how I need to get there, instead of just going around hunting people. I don't play a whole lot of battle royale games, so my knowledge in that is a bit limited. To multiplayer games themselves, like Call of Duty or Halo, I think Rainbow Six Siege has implemented it the best. The kill death ratio, win loss ratio is only for ranked gameplay, so you can play casuals and it has no effect. So I feel like if that's something that you actually want to prove your skill,
I kind of like
think
that.
Cool. I'm not saying Patrick and I never went. We pub stomped on COD because we used to do that all the time. Yeah. But that doesn't take any skill to do that.
Yes,
to go in, no, I don't think it does. To go in and play against random people, and because you've got communication and you're better than they are, you are going to destroy them.
But
if you want
to the point where I didn't play with people, and I would still go in and pub stomp.
I feel like I need to put in a little asterisk here. Yeah. Just real quick, pub stomp is whenever a group of like people who are good at the game go into a public lobby just because it's easy and they can destroy everybody.
Yeah.
Which all of us are good at, have done that at some point in our life.
You compete over who can do the best in the game.
Yeah. I just felt like I need to say that just in case people didn't understand the term.
No worries. That was always fun to do, but I don't think it took any skill for us to do that.
Nope.
And I think to show the merit of how good of a player you are, you have to go into a ranked game, and you will play against people that are similarly skilled to you. And I think only then your stats should be tracked, because you can go in like Patrick and I and Seth did sometimes and just destroy. And now you've got this padded or this boosted stat. So people look at it and say, oh man, yeah, look at his KD. He's so good. Well, no, he's not that great because he went in with a team and they destroyed people that had no communication, people that were new at the game. Yeah, but if you go and you play ranked,
I played a ton of just by myself, and I would still crap on people. My stats,
but Call of Duty is one of those games where you can go in and carry a team if you're good enough.
Right. Which I feel like that is actually a hard thing to do, though, to carry a team where you're the only person on the team and you don't know whether they're going to be good or not. You walk in there randomly. You just have to carry it all on your back. It's fun to do that.
I feel like the run and gun style games, though, it's easier to do that. Because it's always a 1v1 fight or maybe a 1v2 fight. But no matter what, as long as you're just killing people, it works. But in like a battle royale, you can't just carry somebody without being insanely good, because you're going with a bunch of different stuff. Like, because you can't die. So like regular Call of Duty match, you can die and just come right back and keep going. But in a battle royale, you have to make sure you stay alive while also killing, because you might be able to kill 3 and then die, and then kill 3 and then die, and your team's obviously going to do well. But in a battle royale, if you kill 3 and then another team of 3 is right on you, like you can't have that death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I think it should be
make
tracked
an
for rank.
argument though is that okay, KD does still matter though, because if you play against a good team and a bad team, it does. I mean, it doesn't matter if teams, no matter what gameplay you play, the team that majority of the time is going to win is the team that truly has like better KDs, as long as they're not just camping in the back of their spawn. Because I've never played against a team that was actually good, that just was better skilled than me, that did not completely destroy me in the kill death department. Like, I've never played a game that, unless people were camping. So like, okay, you play a game of Demolition. There's occasionally a time where a team can beat you that has completely negative KDs just because they constantly push and push and die and die and die. But it's not going to happen on a consistent basis. They will never win. They might be able to win 1 game out of 10 games, but if you're playing against a good team, even if you just run in there and die over and over, if you're 1 in 100, you are a bad player. It is a perfect show of how good you are. You have a 0.3 KD. You're a bad player. There's just no way to say it. You die for every 3 deaths you have, you get 1 kill. Like, you're basically a waste of space on a team in a way.
I feel personally attacked right now.
And I don't think I've met very few people that have ever fallen that low down on the spectrum, but I'm saying, like, I've always made the claim, as long as you can pull a 1 KD, but in objective based game types, your KD doesn't matter as much depending on the game type, because, like, say Demolition, all it takes is planting the bomb and keeping them off the bomb. If you have to die 15 times just to damage them enough to kill the guy that's defusing over and over, you can still win games. But in general, I mean, it's like map control. Like, if you just kill people constantly, you have so much more map pressure and just can control an entire game. So if your entire team is as good as you and you're all dropping 40, 50 bombs, then there's no way for the other team to do anything. They're going to be stuck in their spawn the entire game. Because that's what happens, like in Demolition. If you play with a good team, they'll just spawn camp you the whole game.
Yeah.
And you can't even get out of your spawn because of how good they are. And I played with people like that, where literally we had it down to a science to where we knew exactly where people would spawn. We knew how far to push up onto the map. And if we pushed too far past certain lines on the map, we knew that it would spawn them behind us. So we would purposely sit back behind the lines, and we knew like how far we could go. And you could always allow one player to push into their spawn, and it wouldn't spawn flip if the whole rest of your team. Like, people figured that out. Like, I've played against like 13-year-olds on NW2 that completely spawn trapped me, Seth, Alex, and Nick Gidney one time on this map. It was insane. Like, they were shooting us, and we would spawn, and we'd get headshot because they were right on our spawn point, and they had it perfectly figured out where to sit on the map. 13-year-old kids, you know?
Yeah. Well, hey, Pat, you and I...
I need to say we were a better team. They just they got us.
It blew my mind. I said, what?
But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I don't play running guns anymore, because it can be aggravating.
Yeah, Pat, you and I used to do that on Black Ops 2. Was what Hijacked, right? Was the boat map. We would do that in Demolition. Yeah.
I did it.
Anyways,
I've done it since the beginning of my Call of Duty career.
I think that's enough game talk. I've actually got a new topic that I'd like to go ahead and introduce to you guys, and we'll kind of see maybe how this goes. On Reddit, there's a subreddit called "Am I the Asshole?" Essentially, it boils down to someone will. Okay.
Yeah. Geez,
someone will post a question, and then they will basically ask for people's response to that question to determine whether or not the person is indeed an asshole or not. So I figured maybe we could read a couple, and then I'll give our opinions. Is that something you guys would?
Sure.
I mean, I already know I'm an asshole, but we can let everyone else know too.
All right, so the first one I got is, am I the asshole for ghosting my whole family after they attempted to force me into an arranged marriage? I'm gonna go ahead and read the text. Some
Okay.
background. I come from India, but I'm attending a college in the UK after accepting a scholarship. So this started about 7 months ago. I told my family that after I finish college, I'm going to stay in the UK. I half-heartedly thought they were going to be supportive, but knowing my culture, I knew that they would most likely going to be absolutely pissed, and I was right. They were upset. Apparently, I needed to marry our rich neighbor's son, who was extremely average-looking and also extremely traditional. And they had already arranged marriage, and I was extremely shocked. Wow, the grammar on this is just top-notch. They expected me
It's
to
not a
still
first
be
language. We've already discovered
Probably
that.
not. They're not. Yeah, primary.
They expected me to still be immersed and obedient to our culture when I'm attending college in a different country for 4 years. I told them that our culture was pure bullshit and I'm not going to go back to India. A month later, I get a call. The call was from our neighbor. They told me that my actions are sinful and an insult to God, and even worse, the son joined and called me a whore. I told them that I will never accept the arranged marriage and to screw off. After that, I cut all contact with all my friends and family in India. So, am I an asshole?
Can I go first?
No.
Or are we just gonna
Okay,
like
go first.
splurge on here and just like
Go
cut
for
each
it.
other off?
Let's go for it.
Uh,
So, anyways, my opinion. Oh, sorry.
no, she's definitely not an asshole. I feel like, arranged marriages are suspect at best. While I have met people that have been arranged marriage and been completely cool with it, and it was good for them, I don't know. I think, forcing someone to do anything against their will, um, especially something on that level, I don't know. I would never be okay with that. I wouldn't want somebody to force that on me. And I would probably ghost my family because they're doing that to me and they see it as okay for whatever reason they see it as. And if they can't see that as wrong, or, even if it's a cultural or religious, um, mindset that they have, it still doesn't make it right. So I've ghosted people before that will just be like completely ridiculous about their beliefs and just want to push it onto you and not be reasonable at all. So I mean, in my opinion, yeah, she's cool. Sounds like a pretty cool person. Probably want to meet her in real life. Anyways, that's my thoughts.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I wouldn't. I mean, I know that it's very, very normal for their culture to arrange marriages and stuff, but I don't. I think that they won't lead to happy lives in most cases. Sometimes they might. You never know, but it's not something you should do, in my opinion. But that's how their culture is. So were their parents wrong for it? No. But if she didn't want to and they wouldn't accept that, she should have ghosted them. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I could see. Okay, so get this. She is currently in the United Kingdom, right? Attending college, and she has plans to stay there after she finishes college. She's in a different culture, a different country where things are a little different, and she has more freedom than she would if she stayed in India. And I can get the tradition behind it, and I can understand maybe if she was still in India and under her parents' rule, living in the house, whatever the case may be, right? But she's on her own. So, you're in a different area, you're by yourself, you have your future, you're your own person now. So, no, I don't think she is for doing that. So,
all right.
I got no more for you guys if you'd like.
Sure.
All right. Am I the asshole for taking back the beer I bought for a party from which I was uninvited? This happened just a few hours. What's up?
I said I need context.
I'm about to give you some. This happened just a few hours ago. I'm a 19-year-old man, and the people calling me an asshole.
Why are you bringing beer?
I'm just reading the story. The people calling me an asshole are 18-year-old men and women. On Thursday, a person I had a major crush on in high school, but who rejected me, messaged me out of the blue. She had never contacted me without my contacting her first, and at one point, I realized she had blocked me on social media. And so I found it odd that she was suddenly being friendly. After sending a couple of greetings and questions about how I've been, she said that she was going to have some beer. Wow, English is difficult for me sometimes. She said that she was going to have some people over and wanted to know if I would get the beer. The drinking age where we are is 19, and
Okay.
she and the people
Off
who
the
were going
hook.
to chill were all 18. The liquor stores in my area all card. I thought it was silly that me being a month older meant I could buy liquor and they couldn't, and so I said I would love to go. She said, thanks, I'll pick you up at 7. 7 o'clock rolled around and she texted me to say she was in front of my house. I went out dressed and ready to chill some people, and she drove me to the liquor store. When we got there, I asked what beer she wanted me to get, and she told me to get Budweiser. I hid my disappointment as well as I could, but it was her party, so I went in and bought 2 cases of 24. I got back in the car and said, let's party. And she was eerily quiet. I noticed that she wasn't driving towards her neighborhood, but rather back towards mine. I thought she had moved or something, but didn't want to press the issue. When she turned down my street, I finally figured it out. She was purposefully being vague because the invitation she wanted me was the only, she was being purposefully vague about the invitation because she wanted me to get the beer, but she wanted a way out when she told me I wasn't actually invited in the first place. She stopped in front of my house, leaned over, kissed me on the cheek, and said thanks in her best voice. I deadpanned her and asked when she was going to tell me I wasn't invited. She feigned surprise and said that she never intended to invite me in the first place. I sat in silence for a long, awkward minute, picked up the beer, and walked towards my front door. She got out of her car and frantically tried to reinvite me to the party, but I told her that what she did was the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me. I opened my front door, slammed it a bit too hard, and came back to my room. Now I'm sitting here drinking absolutely unpalatable piss water, and I have text messages from all of her friends and her asking me why I'm being such a dick. I don't think I'm the asshole for reacting the way I did, but if you haven't figured it out, I'm not amazingly socially, so I'm not sure. Am I the asshole?
So I don't know if I call an asshole, but we will go with dumbass. Because from what you read, which is what he or she read, right?
Yeah.
Your camera went away.
Yeah, I know. Keep going.
Okay. So it was I don't know, what he said is in his thing was, will you will you buy alcohol for us? It never once said, hey, I'm having a party, you want to come? Okay, well, if you want to come, then let's go. Like, he just read into more than it was. He said, will you buy alcohol? And he said yes. He never once said, hey, we're having a party, come on over. It was, and I've had that happen before to legally of age people asking me to buy them alcohol, where I went and picked it up and dropped it off for them and said, bye. Because they weren't inviting me. They were asking me to, help them because they forgot their ID. So, yeah, he's just a dumbass who read too much into it, got into his feelings, and, reacted. I don't know if I'd call him an asshole because he misunderstood. And so he took his beer back, but I mean, also slightly petty.
I would say, no, he's not an asshole. Screw them. The thing is, here's the deal. She should have been blatantly obvious with her intentions, which is, hey, can you, I'm having a party. I need someone above the age to buy me beer. I know you're above the age. Would you be down with buying some beer for me? I'll pay for it, and that's really all I need from you. But if you leave it open-ended like she did in the way she phrased it, it kind of gives the insinuation one way or another. It's hard to tell if she just means, I want you to buy beer or not? So she's really just using the dude, knowing probably, because she's smart.
I never said that she wasn't an asshole.
She knows the guy likes her because of the previous contacts and that she's muted him and whatever. So she knows he has some sort of feelings. So she's using his feelings to try and pretend like she's going to let him be part of the group, when in reality she's not. She just wants him to buy beer because he's old enough to buy beer. So she is straight up the asshole.
No one said she wasn't an asshole. He is just an idiot.
He's just
because I mean, let's go back to the fact that he said, over a period of time, the only time that she would talk to him is if he initiated it, but he kept trying. Like, I mean, he clearly does not have those social skills, and so it's his fault for reading into something.
Because for me, like, it's like if I'm the one that's having to reach out all the time and I have to say hi to you, bye, Felicia. I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I'm gonna ghost you because it doesn't matter if this is a guy or a girl.
Conversations are two-sided.
Friends or more than friends. If I'm the one that has to start the conversation and I'm the one that has to continue it, even if I don't have to start it. So say somebody says like, "Hey," and then every time you say something back to them, they give you the most bland response that doesn't make any sense. I'm not responding back. I mean, I'm eventually just going to cut the conversation. I might respond back for a little bit, but if you can't keep a conversation and add substance to it, then there's no point in me talking to you. You're a waste of my time and a waste of my my headspace. I could be using it towards something else. So that's my opinion. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the guy's stupid. He should have. He's very naive. I guess we could say that he's a very naive guy, and he needs a wake up call. Maybe this was the wake up call. This would be number one humiliation for him, and he'll never let it happen again. And realize that when people are using you, they're using you.
One can only hope.
If they have that manipulative behavior from the beginning of the relationship, and they continue to have it for forever, okay, they're not a good person. Cut them out of your life. Move on. There's other people out there, That's my opinion on it. I don't know. I mean, she's definitely an asshole, though.
I didn't say she wasn't.
The person that did that, that's straight up an asshole. Like, there's nobody else you could contact? I don't know, Like,
yeah.
Oh. That means she really isn't as cool as she's sounding either, because if she was really cool, she would have many different friends that were above a month older. You're telling me you don't have any friends that would be willing to do that besides this one guy that you never talked to? That's crazy. Sus.
Well, nobody said she was cool either.
Yeah, that's very sus. I'm disappointed in the whole situation. I don't know why this happened. And may God have mercy on their souls. That's all I got.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys that no, I don't think he is. Yeah, maybe he should have read more into it. But at the same time,
into it, yeah.
Maybe she's attractive. Maybe for whatever reason he liked her at one point. Maybe I don't know the situation.
I mean, he already said he liked her at one point and got rejected. So, I mean,
but
there's that.
It's difficult whenever
how many girls have I met that are attractive. That means nothing. About who they are as a person has nothing to do with their looks.
Right, but maybe
it's priorities together.
Yeah, but
okay,
signs.
Yeah, but maybe he didn't get close enough to her to find out that she's not the kind of person that.
Obviously.
Yeah. But I'm saying previously, prior to this, right? Okay, yeah, he's got a crush on her. He likes her. He got rejected once, but that doesn't mean that he won't stop liking her. Maybe he never got close enough to realize, hey, she isn't that great of a person. Clearly now he knows that, but maybe he didn't know that going into it. So, yeah, I think he should have read into it a little more, but at the same time, it's difficult because, feelings take over, and maybe that's just what happened, is he didn't pay attention enough to say, hey, she's inviting me now. She wants me to get beer. Well, I guess I'm invited to this party then, right? So, that's the way I'm looking at it.
I don't know. I would really like to get more. I would like to get the story firsthand from the person instead of through typing, because maybe they left out important stuff. I would like to see these text messages too, screenshots of them, so I could read and really see what the person said, because it could go one way or the other depending on how he's paraphrasing what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also feel like, so there's three sides to every story, right? His side, her side, and the truth. So we heard his side, and in his side, he didn't say that she said anything about inviting to the party. So, and that's him being nicer. So she might have even been blatant about it, honestly.
Yeah. Anyways, I've got one last one for us. So I figure we'll go ahead and read today.
Let's do it.
This is a good one. Am I the asshole for not wanting my dad to walk me down the aisle because he's in a wheelchair?
Wow.
Ooh.
Do we even have to answer this?
Is there more context to this?
Give me context before I judge. But what up?
About 3 years ago, my dad was injured in a really bad hit-and-run car accident. He broke just about every bone in his body, and it left him paralyzed from the waist down. Our relationship has always been really good, but I hate seeing him in pain, and admittedly, tried to avoid seeing him because it just makes me uncomfortable.
Oh.
In November, I'm getting married, but I've been I've been with my fiance for 4 years, and he and my dad get on really well. Naturally, the discussion of who was going to give me away came up in the family group chat, and I kept silent after I realized my dad would be in a wheelchair. We always talked about him giving me away and having a dance at my wedding, and I don't want to be reminded of what could have been at my wedding. I messaged my mom privately and told her I want my uncle to walk me down the aisle as we're incredibly close.
This is painful.
She naturally asked why, and I told her that my dad being in a wheelchair would add complications to the wedding. The walkway would have to be widened to accommodate his wheelchair, and he wouldn't be able to hold my arm or give me a proper hug. She was outraged. She called me a POS and removed me from the group chat. My aunt has since called me telling me my dad is absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna give my opinion first. Y'all can follow afterwards.
There are 3 updates real quick before we move on, or would you rather give your opinions and I give the updates after?
Ooh, I have my opinion 100%.
Yeah, I have my opinion 100%. I don't really care. There might be some updates.
You want the updates?
We can hear the updates after we give our opinion, and then maybe we'll be completely wrong and we'll sound that. But it's your dad. So what? Like he couldn't control what happened to him. I mean, if the guy loves you and you say your relationship's so great and you get along, like, so what? It's gonna add some inconvenience. I mean, he gets to give you away one time. You're getting married to the person that you supposedly love and you're gonna commit your life to. I think it's fair to allow the father, even if he's in a wheelchair or no matter what, to take the girl down the aisle and let his daughter go. I feel like it's pretty up that we're even having a conversation about this, because even if you thought that in your mind, which that might go through your mind when you first think about it, to actually voice the opinion that I don't know if I want to let my dad take me down because it would be all I heard in that was it would be an inconvenience and annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
And I might look weird because I have a guy with a wheelchair taking me down instead of having this picture perfect wedding. What I got from that was a girl that is so sucked into what matters about her that she's straight up just a selfish piece of, yeah. And that's terrible to say that to your father who supported you, loved you, raised you, and then has something terrible and awful happen to him. And then it's I don't know. That's just rude.
Clearly a narcissistic POS, like her mom said.
Yeah.
She said in that before even the wedding part that she stopped seeing her dad as much because she didn't like seeing that. I mean, she cares so much about her image that she doesn't want it to be reflected in the fact that he's in a wheelchair out of his control, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a wheelchair. I mean, they're extremely useful for people who can't walk. It's just wow.
And I get the avoiding somebody because something bad happened to him for a small period of time or something, because at first you're trying to take it in. But at the end of the day, you have to confront the uncomfortableness of the situation and move on with your life.
You don't even avoid them. They are dealing with something. I guarantee it was not easy for him to lose the ability to walk.
True.
He is dealing with something. You need to if it's weird for you, no matter or whatever, you need to shove that shit somewhere deep inside you and be there for a family member.
Talk to your counselor, and and pony up and be there. For the
that entire family should cut her off, and the fiance should not marry her.
Yeah,
like that's a horrible person.
Yeah. Continue. What do you got? Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I was
going
to
add the rest.
I was going to add to what you said, Pat, about. Yeah, I think initially the thought crosses your mind, and I think it would cross your mind.
But you wouldn't act on it.
That's right, but I'm saying, though, to say that you would never think that ever, and to say, for anyone to say they would never, I think is a lie. Because I think deep down, somewhere in your mind, you go over it in your head. You have to. You have to,
the
because
logical side of you will go over
it. Exactly. But then you quickly get over that, and you remind yourself, wait, why am I thinking about it this way? Because that's wrong. I care about that person. I have feelings. I love that person. They are my family. So
not just your family, your freaking dad.
Yeah, it's like if it weren't for him, you would not be here.
Right? Who's taking care of you when you were a little baby?
She said herself that they had a great relationship, or had a great relationship.
Yeah,
and so it's not even like a dad that walked out and then came back, and so you're like, my uncle's been there for me more. Like,
and it's not like he screwed up and did something wrong. Like the entire reason she's alienating him is because of something that was out of his control.
Exactly. It's like
to him.
You were ostracizing him because of something that he had. Exactly, he had no control over.
And if I was his dad, I would be devastated too. Like that just tears my heart up to even hear that somebody would think like that. Like to that, I don't know. I mean, like I get what you're saying, Will. Like this is what I'm saying is that you might have you're gonna have some stupid thoughts run through your mind. Everybody, it's hard to control your mind. There are going to be things that you think about that are kind of screwed up, and you probably don't want to share to the rest of the world, right? Because it's going to go through the mind. Your mind thinks of some crazy stuff, and it's just going to think what it's going to think. But you can't, just because you think something doesn't mean you act or like believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
An idea that processes through your brain. So she could have that idea and then move on with her life. But to act on it and say, I don't know if I want him to.
That's selfish. Incredibly selfish.
Terrible. Can I hear the reports? I want to hear the updates.
So honestly, though, if I were her father and I'd heard that my daughter, my son, whoever had said or had thought about that way towards me, that would be devastating, heartbreaking, and I don't know how I would deal with that. If I had heard that someone that was so close to me had actually thought and acted upon, and they didn't want me there for that. I don't know how that would actually affect me, and I think that would probably ruin my relationship with that person.
As it should.
Yeah. All right, so she's got 3 updates.
I would be disappointed that was
3 updates. Oh boy, this is her trying to explain herself. I feel like
the entire internet's against her right now. Nobody agreed.
So this one was posted 3 weeks ago. It's got 28,000 upvotes, so it's incredibly popular, and it's got 1,217 comments of people calling her. This. Okay. Also, it looked like this thread was actually locked because people were starting to break rules on being civil. Anyways, updates. Update 1. I appreciate all the people who have messaged me offering me support. Your kind words have meant a lot to me whilst rifling through a bunch of messages telling me to do horrible things to myself. Regardless of what you think of me, telling me these things isn't okay. I'm going to call my dad tomorrow. Update 2.
I hope he doesn't answer.
Can people please stop messaging me such horrendous stuff? Think about what you're saying. You may not agree with me in
what
life.
You were saying.
But you're just as bad as I apparently am if you're going to go around saying stuff like that to strangers on the internet.
That's just the internet. Come on. You got to expect it.
I mean, that is definitely true, though.
Exactly. How naive are you to post something like this publicly and not expect people to respond the way they have?
Backlash.
All right. Update 3. Final update. Not that I owe it to anyone. Man, she is such a self-righteous prick. Not that I owe it to anyone, but I thought I'd give you all an update. My boyfriend and I have decided to part ways, and I've apologized to my dad.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to clap.
Cool guy of the week goes to her boyfriend for dumping her because
Good
of such a
job.
petty thing like that.
That's
So,
good for him.
congratulations to boyfriend.
You
Find yourself
you
someone better.
dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
That is so effed. I
Yeah.
cannot believe this. This is so crazy.
I'm glad you didn't read those updates before we answered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hindsight and all that.
Oh my god. I'm so glad that they broke up. And
Yeah.
I mean, as mean as it might be to say, like, I don't think their her and her dad's relationship should ever be fixed. Like, I mean, that's bad.
No, I think anything can be fixed.
It
and
can
if
be
she
fixed,
owned up,
but
listen,
I feel like
if she owned up to the issue and actually like apologizes and like truly means it and believes it, anybody can be redeemed.
no,
and
because
like,
she will do
forgiven
something
for what they
extreme
did.
unless she decides she wants to go to counseling and work on herself. Because that's just something that is ingrained in her now. Like saying I'm sorry, she's gonna do something similar again.
Maybe, but I mean, this is gonna
maybe
be
not on that
a
scale,
huge
but
learning lesson for her after getting roasted by the entirety of the world. I feel like she's probably going to feel pretty bad about herself. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know, because it's going to mess with her psyche, but it's going to teach her some valuable lessons. And hopefully she takes the right thing away from this and isn't a selfish jerk towards her dear father that seems like a decent dude. And the guy dumping her is probably the right thing to do. Now, will they officially stay dumped for forever? But what it sounds like to me, listen, is even if they had a disagreement, it sounds like she didn't fully accept that she had done anything wrong, because I feel like even as the dude, if like you talk through it, work through it, and we're like, this is why this is screwed up, and the person was like totally like, you're right, I don't know why I did this, I'm an awful person, like I'm so sorry, and like truly meant it, I feel like you could get over something like this. But it sounds like to me, just from the updates and the way she phrased things, not that I owe it to anybody, she never took full responsibility for this.
Yeah.
She may have apologized to the dad, but she obviously fought with the guy. The guy probably fought with her hardcore over it, and she would not admit that she was wrong in it. And he was like, all right, screw you. See you later. I feel like that's what I'm getting from the between the lines there.
Yep.
Since it's because I'm sure they had arguments and she didn't want to be wrong. So instead of just admitting that you're wrong about something, which is hard to do sometimes, but if you're a real person, you have to admit when you're wrong and you've just screwed up. Move on with your life, dude. Everybody, see, my thing is everybody makes mistakes. It's
everybody
about
has those days.
After you make the mistake,
I thought that.
It's what you do with like the actions, the consequences, everything afterwards. So you can royally screw up and be a terrible person, and if you choose to change your ways and do something and be a good person and take care of people and do the right thing, then anybody can. But most, if somebody doesn't want to do that, then they're just an awful person.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like people that get addicted to drugs and then they walk away from it and move on and do great things with their life. Yeah, they did some awful things, I'm sure, but it doesn't mean that they're just like,
addictions and personalities are two different things. You've got to really want to change your personality to change your personality.
Yeah. But it can happen.
It can
so I don't want to lose faith.
Judging by her updates, it won't happen anytime soon.
No.
That's
terrible.
It goes to prove the fact man is evil.
Man is evil. Oh God.
And on that note, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap. This has been fun, guys. Episode 15. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has continued supporting us, sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, all the usual. We appreciate that. So
Definitely do.
Yes.
And we're 20-something-ish away from 100 subs. So, let's see if we can get there soon.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Patrick, there's a bell that you keep talking about sometimes. What is that, and what does it do?
just like, click, and subscribe, and make sure to click the notification bell, which will let you know when we post new videos, which is pretty much always on Mondays. So
yeah, for the most part, we try keeping a schedule. Check us out. The social medias below, they will be listed. So if you want more of the Talking Guys,
stay down there.
We're there for you.
And please comment about what you think about the girl at this last part. Any of the other things we talked about. I'm just interested to see what people have to say about some of these topics today. So
for your KDs, if you want to show those out.
All the gamers that listen, listen. If you're against having KDs, you're scrub. Okay. Anyways,
that's gonna be it, guys. See you next week.
Have a good one.